So I think I'm gonna make some calls for sharing my screen. Sure, that's not good. I think I'm gonna make some cold calls right now. You guys can see me cold call. Yeah.
I'd like to see you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about picking up the phone and making some calls. I don't want anyone to be afraid of calling anyone because that's what we need to do every day. So why don't we gonna make some calls?
JJ, everyone's saying like my friend, like environment, they are saying coca is very old fashioned style.
Okay, so real estate is been around forever,
Right.
right? It's like one of the oldest professions. The only thing that changes in real estate is our methods of communication. That's the only thing that changes, and the amount of paperwork. So, you know, as there are new methods of communication, then we embrace that. But people are going to do business with you because of a relationship, right? So it's how are you in that relationship? So there are reasons for cold calling, and there are even bigger reasons for reaching out to people you already know, right? So your business, most of your business is going to come from referral. That's where most business comes from. It's I don't want to look at.
Yeah,
I
answer.
had a one teaching class. Everything okay? Yeah. Yes. Okay, you're good. Teaching fun. So I've paid everything. I've done it. Like, you know, there's so many people reaching into your pocket to sign up for this and sign up for that. We guarantee you listings. We guarantee you appointments. Join Zillow for thousands of dollars a month, right?
Yeah.
Buy a zip code. Everyone's trying to get in your pocket and get your money. And you can do all that stuff. But when you go back and look, where has your business come from? I guarantee you the business is going to be coming from
Relationship.
people you know,
Exactly.
or people, mostly people that have referred someone to you,
Right.
right? So like I talk with agents all the time who are full-time real estate agents, and I also talk to agents who have another business and they're part-time real estate agents. My advice to people who are part-time real estate agents is that everyone needs to think you're a full-time real estate agent, because you're not going to get a referral otherwise. Like let's just say I'm not in real estate, but I know my boss, let's say Paul Morris or Josh Stetson, and I know that they're looking to buy a house. I'm not going to refer them to my friend who's part-time, right?
Right.
I'm referring them to my friend who's full-time. I know they're going to be taking, you know, get
Yeah.
full attention.
Exactly.
So people just have to think you're doing real estate full-time. You have to be careful because of this new world and social media, LinkedIn. Like someone's going to go, make sure you know, we have to be updating our profiles, our LinkedIn profile, Facebook profile, whatever profiles we have out there, they need to be full-time real estate. I've calendared in my Google Calendar quarterly. I have something pop up quarterly that says review bio. So I know that I need to not only work in your business, like making your calls every day, but work on your business, meaning
Exactly.
looking from a macro point of view, how am I growing my business? I know what I'm doing every day, but the big picture is part of that is your bio. And I've calendared quarterly to update my bio. So you know, and like right now, I have an issue with my website that I need to get on. Like I need to do it. Like, so I paid a company to do a beautiful website for me, and then I went on AW and I started playing around, and it messed up my website. So I don't know what I did, and now, but it's important. Like I know that this is urgent and important because people are searching my name, and I need them to go to a good website. Same with you guys, right? So KW has a website. I'm saying just spend time on it. Like it's really important to work on your business. You need to take some time and just work on your business.
Do we have a class regarding to creating our website?
Yes, so, okay, so on Monday, so I've been teaching Ignite on Monday. I really want to get everyone hands-on and so on this coming Monday, I'm going to show you, we're gonna do it together. I'm gonna put people into command. We're gonna create campaigns. So we're gonna do some campaigns in command, meaning like a 12 direct or an 18 touch we're gonna go and look at these 12 emails that are gonna get sent out over a period of a year. We're gonna go in and edit them, and then we'll save them, and then we're gonna take contacts and put them on.
Awesome.
So we're gonna actually do that hands-on on Monday, so everyone can see.
What time?
That's 11:30,
11:30.
yes. Today, we're talking about the listing process. But I am gonna make some cold calls right now. Now, just regarding cold calls. Cold is cold. Right? Cold is cold, like a warm call are people that I know, they're happy to hear from me, I hope. But I'm just saying, hi, how you doing? Do you have any plans for real estate this year?
Okay.
That's it. I mean, do you have any plans for real estate? And if not, please refer me to anyone you come across who is. Everybody will meet two people a year that are here, two people here that are gonna move by yourself, right? So you just wanna be the referral and we have to ask for it. Okay, so personally, I have a buyer now looking at Beverly Hills Flats. We were in escrow. Fortunately, something came up in inspections and they could not continue to purchase for hazard reasons. Yeah, unfortunately.
And I have a buyer in north of Montana. Is that the one in from north of Montana? Just in case.
North of Montana, okay, so interestingly, just for my personal
Uh-huh.
looking around the areas, usually north of Montana doesn't have a lot of activity. For whatever reason, I'm seeing properties for sale there, north of Montana.
But believe me or not, do you remember before Gold, you were teaching us how to pick our farm?
Yes,
I checked exactly that area and the rate was 5.5, no, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of like activity when like
yeah, so usually north of Montana doesn't have that much activity, but recently there is.
there is, right?
Yeah, there is, yeah, so it's good. Okay, so I'm gonna just call some people in the flats here.
How'd you get these?
Oh, so I have, I subscribe to RedX.
Uh-huh.
And there's all different things that you can subscribe to. Right now, my subscription is for farm areas, is for geographic.
Sure, they have different tiers, I'm sure.
So they have just different things that you can do there, but there's different companies.
Or do you pay by like neighborhood or?
So I pay a flat fee for, I think, 7,500 names and numbers a month. Right? So
7,500 monthly?
7,500 monthly, is that a lot? Oh, but I'm helping you
It's
guys.
an investment.
I'm helping you guys, like if you guys pick a farm area, I'm helping you with that. Right? Now, I can do,
How much is that?
I think I pay 125 or 150 a month.
That's a
Yeah,
lot.
That's all. It's not bad. It's not bad for that
It's
one.
yearly, I thought
No,
it's
monthly, 150.
150 is perfect,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's okay. It's okay, not bad. There's other things that they're 300 a month,
I
500,
was-
1,000 a month.
I was paying,
Right, so
350.
now there's different things. You can do foreclosures, like people that are losing their house. Right, so if someone is late on a mortgage payment, there's a process in California, there's the foreclosure process, so if someone lends money attached to a property in California, I have to be aware of our time. If someone lends money attached to a property and they stop getting paid on that loan, they can't just go and take the property. They have to go through the foreclosure process. So the first thing is they have to file a notice of default. And then they have a 90-day period to bring the loan current. If they don't make any payments in that 90-day period, then a notice of sale gets recorded. Then there's gonna be an auction 30 days later, notice of sale, okay?
That only happens after 5 years.
That's if you don't pay your property taxes for 5 years, right? So, yeah, if you don't, that's another thing you can go after. It's another niche, is people that don't pay their property taxes, right? But if you don't pay your loan for 90 days, then a notice of sale gets recorded, and then there's an auction date. Now, you, as an agent, can approach a seller who is in default and say, hey, let's get your property on the market before it gets foreclosed on. You have the power as an agent to sign a listing agreement and then communicate with the lender, or now it's not even the lender because it got handed off to the collector, who's the trustee.
Yeah,
So a trustee gets appointed to facilitate this sale. They're the one that conducts the auction at the courthouse steps. You can call the trustee and say, here's my listing agreement. Please postpone the sale. We're gonna try to sell the property privately. So you have that power to do that.
and is it in the homeowner's best interest to generally go?
It's always, you're always gonna get the most money for a property listing it,
Right,
and
rather than having someone,
always. So
Right.
people that attend the auctions are looking to pay 80 cents on the dollar, up to 80 cents on the dollar usually. So then the homeowner is only gonna get what's left over up to that 80% that's paid at the auction after all the debts are paid on the property. Whatever's left over, after all the loans are paid, debts are paid, then the homeowner will get something, hopefully. If they put it on the market, there should be that extra 20% of equity that they're getting.
do you have a recommendation for?
The only reason I'm bringing this up is because you can subscribe to that. You
That's
can-
what I'm asking.
Yes, so you can
Is that
subscribe.
one Red X? as
Red X
well?
offers that, other companies offer it. I'm not plugging Red X, I have no.
No, I understand.
But you can subscribe to foreclosures. Now, foreclosures can be a big waste of time for you at the same time. Trying to follow a foreclosure and show up at the auction, bring in an investor, that's a waste of time. Because a lot of those auctions get postponed because realtors like us go in and get listings and prevents a foreclosure. Or we bring an investor that buys the property before it goes to sale at the auction. So there's a lot of opportunity for us, but we also have to look out for our commissions. So a foreclosure has no commissions. The way we get paid is listing the property, right? We want to list it and sell it. So that's how we get paid. But let me just call some people here so you can see how I do this. Okay, so Beverly Hills Flats, Rodeo to Maple, 500 and 600 block. Let's follow those people. So this is Rodeo to Maple, 500 and 600 block. Ooh, that's not gonna help me. Yeah, cold calling.
I have no idea what it is.
What are you asking?
She was asking me, where are
Where's the
you?
cold calling?
What is cold calling? Cold calling is calling someone I don't know.
No, he's just, I think that's his own argument.
Oh, so these are mine,
yeah, we're not following.
Oh, so yeah, these are just spreadsheets that I've
I
saved.
was just in Red X.
Now, here, I'm gonna have to call something I've saved as a spreadsheet. I don't know. CSV,
You've got a Cheviot farm?
I have lots of different farms. I wanna open this with, let me try other. So I
Give you $100.
should have Excel in here.
JJ, I'll give you $100 for your farm.
For my farm list,
I'll give you $101. I know how prices, right, nice.
I'll give you any farm list you guys want. So, okay. Do we have Excel installed on this computer? Where's Excel?
You're looking for Excel?
Yeah,
Head down to the bottom where you got your.
I mean, I just want to see if we even have it,
It's in that boat grid.
all applications. Right, oh, maybe not. You're saying just look in here, yeah, I can do that.
You could also just go to Finder and then type it in,
Yeah,
which is that application in the very bottom left. Or up there, yeah.
it looks like we don't have Office installed. Weird, but we have PowerPoint. Okay, let me just try opening a Excel as Beverly Hills north of Sunset. So what I usually do is I save these as Excel as spreadsheets also. Beverly Hills Flats is where I want to call. Oh, boy. All right, let's try something else. Let's see what else I have. Herman Oaks. Oh, maybe if there's no extension on it. Beverly Woods, all right, I'll call Beverly Woods. Why not? Choose application. Well, this was a bummer. All right, well, you know what? I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm sorry for anyone that was waiting to see me do this. I don't want to waste your time. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be making some phone calls. I just wanted to say there's no big deal. It's just calling someone saying, hey, how you doing? JJ Wallack, Keller Williams, Beverly Hills. I have a buyer looking in your area. Have you had any thoughts about selling this here? That's really my whole call. So that's all I was gonna do. We'll do it tomorrow.
All right, I have an interesting story that happened today. So there's a abandoned house around the corner. The owner lives in Montecito, or no, she lives in Monterey.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's been kind of boarded up. We've all been trying to get her to sell it for a year because of transients and stuff like that and
Okay.
everything else. And her name is Barbara and she will not sell. I've talked to her. I brought her two offers. Originally, she wanted 2.1 million for just the lot. I said, I brought her one for 14-day close, all cash, and she wouldn't accept it. She wanted 7-day. We got her 7-day all cash, but it was to an LLC. She had a fit about that.
You bought her a 7-day all cash closing offer.
Yes.
And she's living in the property?
No, she used to own a whole block on Sweetser. This is on the corner of La Jolla and Waring. It's a triplex that she owns.
Wow. You bought her 7-day offer.
All close, but it was to an LLC and she didn't want to do it with an
That's
LLC.
Beverly Hills, right?
Yeah, West Hollywood kind of, over like Melrose
Yeah,
Crest Heights
mile.
area, right? So anyway, she's not right ahead. So every once in a while I'll call her, how are you? And though we're having horrible weather and blah, blah, blah. I said, I keep calling her. And we had a nice talk about 3 weeks ago and she wants 3 million for the property now. I'm like, Barbara, the prices aren't going up, So we had a little talk. Well, today I'm coming out of the dentist this morning. I started getting all this text. Somebody burned our house down.
Oh.
Burned it. It was on fire today. All the neighbors are like, call us, Barbara's house is on fire and so forth. I'm like, guess she should have sold.
Now how old is she?
I have no idea. She's probably about 75, something like
So
that.
now she's gonna get a brand new house built by the insurance company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It sounds like she's a little,
So hopefully she has fire insurance,
so, yeah,
hopefully, and then she'll get a brand new house.
it's crazy.
So
Wow.
I mean, it sounds like she was selling it for, was it a good house?
No,
Was it
it's horrible.
dilapidated?
It's horrible.
Well, then she was selling it for the land.
She was selling it, it's land value, but the way they had hit out, so it's an R2 zone. But somehow her house got zoned as R3 years ago, so that whoever bought it had to put a triplex on it. And so one of the big moderns, but they could do 3 units in there, and I had 2 investors for it, she would never sell it, her house would be turned it down. Okay.
poor lady, hope she's okay. All right, so there's a book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. We call it the Red Book. And
He has it.
yeah, that's it. So that book is our Bible as far as what do we do? Every real estate agent needs to have this book. I have it on my share folder.
Oh, I have it on tab about the tape, so you can get the audio.
The audio is amazing.
Yeah.
Like I've listened to the audio and grabbed things that I would never have gotten out of reading.
I'll listen to it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I like
It's
that.
really good.
How much was the audio?
$13.
It's a great.
Can you give me the address where you got
So
it?
I think you can get a 90-day free subscription to
And also on YouTube.
Amazon Audio.
On YouTube, there is
You
an
can also
audio.
find, you can find YouTube, people post it and then it gets taken down.
Okay.
You can find it on YouTube, maybe an audio book, yeah.
Download?
To watch on YouTube,
Had to watch.
but it's the audio that gets posted. All right, we have to have an elevator pitch when we're talking to sellers. We are telling sellers what our value is. Why should they use us and not the other agent down the street, right? Why us? So the top 10 service areas of the seller value proposition. So any seller we're talking to should have a reason to sell, right? So first we want to find out from them, why are you selling? And when I have a listing and another agent says to me, why are you selling? Why is the seller selling? It's a totally legit question. Why is my seller selling? So I'm always going to be prepared for that question. So help clarify the motivating reasons, still determine seller's timetable. So this is very important, the timetable. One of the things that I bring with me on my listing appointment, and I also have this in my shared folder, are calendars. Okay, and I think it really helps the seller visually when you put calendars down in front of them and start talking about a timetable. Like, what is really the timetable? Because I work backwards. When do you need to be out of here by? And I'll print calendars like today, what are we, we're in October. So I'll bring with me in October, November, December, and even a January calendar with me. Right now on my shared folder, I have calendars. There's a listing folder on my shared folder. There's a listing folder and I have calendars in there. On the calendars I print, broker caravans on Tuesday, Sunday open houses. I also have the deadlines for getting into the broker caravan, open house magazine, and the deadlines for LA Times ads. So the reason I'm bringing this with me is because I want to show the seller that obviously I'm a good agent. I have this stuff with me, right? Did anyone else show this to you? Right. So, but I like to get them thinking, you know, when do they want to be out of their house by? Do they want to be out by the end of the year? Okay, so then on December's calendar, I'm going to have Christmas. On November's calendar, I'm going to have Thanksgiving, right? That's November.
Yes.
So there's the holidays. There's going to be days that you can't record. Escrow's closed, you know, on holidays, and title companies are closed. Around the holidays, it's very challenging. But I have this just to work backwards. So like if I'm going, there are people that, that want to sell, say, April. When do you want to come on the market? Because don't forget, there's going to be time to get the property ready. There's going to be time to photograph it. Then there's going to be the open houses. And then hopefully get an offer. Then there's going to be an escrow period. We don't know if that escrow period is going to be 30 days, 40 days, 45 days, 60, 90 days. Hopefully short, but it takes time. So we want to work backwards. So someone who wants to close escrow in April, I would say we probably need to get their property on the market in February. Right? Maybe even the end of January. Right? All right, let's look at this. So needs analysis. Why do they want to sell? Are they upgrading? Are they downsizing? Are they moving out of state? You know, we need to find out what's their motivation. And we're always going to come back to this whenever we are negotiating with our seller, as far as if there's nothing happening and we need a price reduction. All right, we're going to say, you know, things aren't moving right now. We tried this price, it wasn't working. Don't forget, we need to be out because you need to be in your new place by a certain date. You know, I'm always going to come back to their need. Pricing strategy. Determine the best selling price strategy given current market conditions. Show resulting net sheet. So a net sheet is the seller's estimated statement. You can go to Pele, our escrow officer, and ask her to prepare an estimated statement. It's going to say what the seller is going to net. So if I'm emailing Pele, I'm going to give her the property address, my seller's name. I'm going to tell her what the total commissions she should calculate are, and I'm going to give her a price. So that's the tricky part. What price am I giving her? Because I haven't yet talked to the seller about that, because I'm bringing a net sheet to my listing appointment, right? So I'm probably going to have Pele prepare maybe 4 different sheets, and I'll keep those in my briefcase. Once I start talking about a pricing strategy with the seller, then I'll pull one of them out, the one that's closest to the price that we're gonna sell for.
Now, this is before you know if what they owe with the property.
This is before I know what we're gonna agree to list it at.
Okay.
So I might be walking in to a property that's worth 1.5 and the seller thinks they're getting 2 million. Right? If I start pulling out a sheet this is 1.5, they're gonna kick me out the door. Right? So my goal is to get the listing and sell it. Like if I can't sell it, it's gonna end up costing me money and time, and I get nothing. And I'm doing a favor to the next agent. It's always good to be the second or third agent, because the first agent, right, did all the dirty work for you. Like they're the ones
They had the hard conversation.
they did or didn't and couldn't sell it, but the seller is not going to want to repeat that. So It's always good to be second husband, second listing agent. It's good. I mean,
You're not supposed to bring them a number, right?
You're
Like,
not supposed
you're
to-
not supposed to like
Right,
literally
okay.
verbalize.
so they want you to give a number.
I know.
Yeah,
So
I don't.
how would you
They
navigate?
want to pin me up against the wall. You're the professional. I asked you here to give me a price. What's my property worth?
Can you tell me like how? you
Yeah,
would
so
navigate the
so
conversation?
I'm bringing comps.
Right.
And then this is what I'm talking about. Pricing strategy, right? So here are all the comps. I'm going through all the comps with you. This is what's currently for sale. This is our competition. This is what has sold in the past 6 months, right? Out of these properties that have recently sold, which is the most comparable to your property? Which do you think? Let's compare these properties. Given all this data that every buyer in the market has, because they're on Zillow, they're on Trulia, they're on Realtor.com. You know, we're in the information age. Given all this data, if you were a buyer right now, what would you offer on your house? I throw it back at them.
That's after you showed them the
This
top.
is after we're going through the comps. Yeah, because, and now we're gonna talk about strategy. Okay, let's say the property is worth between this and this. Now, let's talk about the strategy that we're gonna price the property at. If you're a buyer and you have hired an agent to help you find a property, that agent is sending you listings, hopefully often, that come in your email. You're opening your email as a buyer. And you see, oh, new listing, I see the address, I see the picture of the property, and I see the price. If that's an attractive price, you're gonna click it. If you think it's not an attractive price, you're just gonna go to the next email. Right? People on the internet click, 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 click. But when you see a great picture of a property and a great price, you're gonna click it and look more at it. We wanna be that price. So what price is gonna encourage people to click and look and come and make an offer? And then because of the current market condition, is this a seller's market? Is this a buyer's market? How much competition is there? If there's a lot for sale, how are we gonna stand out? Right? We need to maybe offer more commission to the buyer's agent. Have you guys ever seen someone offering 6% commission, 7% commission to the buyer's agent? It happens.
Wow.
Like you're gonna get an email that says 6% commission to the buyer's agent if you can get into a deal before such and such date. It's an incentive. So that's a conversation with the seller. How are we gonna stand out from all these other properties for sale? When it's a buyer's market, that's the conversation we're gonna be having. Okay, property preparation, we have to talk about that. Is the property is it empty? Or is it fully cluttered, there's stuff everywhere? I've walked into houses that literally the ceiling was supported by stacked boxes. Like I've walked into everything. Hoarding situations all the time. I've walked into a house, 100 cats. I've walked into everything. So the question is, everything has a price. Right? Everything has a price. If you see a listing on the MLS and it's only exterior shots, you can guarantee that the
As is.
it's a mess inside, right? For sure. But we also want to have advice for a seller, like what to do. So that can be something that you bring in your listing packet. We have that in Command. We'll go through that in Command. I'll show you on Monday when we're actually hands-on in Command. But there's advice for a seller, how to prepare your house to sell. And for us, it's about getting the house photo ready. That's really what we want, photo ready. That's when our job starts. Our job really starts cleaning up. Now, get the listing signed starting today. When you're on that listing appointment, make sure the start date on your listing is today. Because if you post date it till the time it's photo ready, anything can happen between now and that post dated date. When neighbors, agents, people start seeing cleanup happening, trees getting trimmed, painting going on outside, the neighbors are like vultures on that because they've been waiting for that property for 30 years to come on the market for sale because they want it for their kid, who knows? So agent driving by, seeing a house getting cleaned up. If you see a house getting cleaned up, pull over, go knock on the door, say, I see you guys are working on your house. Are you thinking about selling it?
But maybe they are already in the list.
It's possible, right? So if they're with us, they are, right? If it's your client, they're in a listing, right? So I'm telling you, get the listing starting today. So we're gonna sign a listing starting immediately. And then we're gonna have an extra form in that listing that says that it's not going into the MLS until it's photo ready. That's how we're gonna sign our listing.
In terms of property preparation. If it's like very dilapidated,
Renew. Okay, I'll talk about it in a second.
if it's very dilapidated.
Yeah.
There's no point in investing like in like small capital improvements, because that's just like lipstick on a pig.
Right.
But
So we want to get paid.
It's
As
only-
as an agent, I want to get paid ASAP. So let's sell it right now. Okay, now, if I have a seller who just wants top dollar, that's their goal. They want top dollar. They're in no rush whatsoever. Then we have to talk about getting the property to that condition. So you just raised up a company called Renew.
I know, yeah.
So I think this company will do renovations and they will charge
They charge like 50 grand and then you, and that's.
out of us, they pay at the end of escrow.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is a company that, I think in our, thank you.
That came from Los Feliz.
Oh, okay. In our KWBH virtual website, if you go to KWBH virtual, there's helpful links at the top. One of those links is a concierge, and it's a company that will do renovations. They'll do renovations, and I think they can be paid at the end of escrow. They'll sign something with the seller saying the seller is responsible to pay for it if the property doesn't sell. If it does sell or doesn't sell. But I think that that payment can be delayed, maybe until close of escrow. Something to look into. But for us, it's about getting the property photo ready. We want to have an awesome looking property. This morning, so I have a lease in Beverly Hills that my photographer is going to this morning. Usually I will be there to meet the photographer. But however, this is a very professional photographer. He's been published, all different, Rob Report, Architectural Digest. He's a great photographer. But I went to the house this morning. I opened all the windows, turned on all the lights. He would do it, but I just want to make sure. Opened all the windows, turned on all the lights. Everything is pristine, ready to be photographed. I put a lockbox there for him. So when he goes, he'll do it. I'll go back later, make sure everything's locked up, but have a good photographer is what I'm saying, Now, on a really inexpensive lease, like if you're doing a $2,000 a month lease, in LA, that's an inexpensive lease. It's gonna be a judgment call, how much take the photos yourself or hire a photographer. You're not making a lot of money. So hopefully the pictures are good. I mean, it took me a long time before I was really framing my pictures properly and having good pictures. But the new iPhones and the new Samsung phones are great. Like those cameras are just amazing. Okay, marketing strategy, marketing plan. So that's part of your listing presentation. You're gonna have a marketing plan. I need to upload my marketing plan to my share folder, which I'm gonna get out. Now, my marketing plan is a lot. I'm not going to give it to the seller. Because I don't want the seller giving it to someone else. Another agent, if they're talking to another agent, I don't want them having my marketing plan. I will show it to them, I'll go through it with them, but that's something, if they hire me, then that's something I'll be doing. But I still don't want to give it to them, because I don't want them holding me responsible for everything. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. Now, all those things in my marketing plan, I can get to if the property's on the market for a while. Right? If the property sells right away, obviously I'm not gonna have all the time to get to all those things on my marketing plan. But on my marketing plan are the flyers, the door knocking, the postcards. But I might be saving some of those things for future price reductions, right? If the property gets reduced in price, I might have a postcard blast that goes out just reduced. So, I'm not spending everything all at once and nothing happens.
Question, JJ.
Yeah.
Just personally, is there normally a time limit you give yourself before you reduce the the price on the property? Because sometimes I'll see like a week and they'll reduce it. I'm like, oh, this person has some urgency. I've seen the price.
I've seen price structures in a week.
Yeah,
Every listing is different.
gotcha.
And you're gonna know going in if your price is great or too high. And there needs to be a discussion with the seller up front that you want them to get the most money, obviously. It's more money for you, it's more money for them, right? But you also want to be realistic and not sit on the market and not selling. So there should be just a discussion, like what's gonna happen when we list? What's gonna happen is if people perceive this to be a great price, then we're gonna get offers and we're gonna get people competing against each other for the property. If people perceive the price is too high, they might come in and not write anything. If it's perceived as being really high, we're not even gonna get showing. Right? So that's a conversation. And then there will be a conversation about how much to reduce. And I think we need to, if we're not getting any activity at all, we're gonna have to reduce 10%. It's a nice chunk, but,
Uh-huh.
and then the timing, like you're saying, is it 1 week, 10 days, a month later? It just depends on the seller's motivation. Like how, right? Okay, so these are things that you're just talking about. What happens when you receive an offer? You're gonna obviously go through it with them. You're gonna negotiate counter offers, sell the property. There's gonna be a request for repair after they do their inspections. You're gonna have to negotiate that. Coordinating and supervising just with escrow and the lender, making sure everything's happening on time. You're gonna review closing documents. And then after closing, if there's any issues, you're not leaving, just because you got paid your commission doesn't mean that you're abandoning your client. Let them know that you're still gonna be there for them. All right, and now this was taken from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. I'm gonna get through my listing stuff in a second, but this is really important. I wanted to share this with you. These are the 10 goals of every agent. Okay, this is from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. The first goal, leads generated. Gary Keller also wrote a book called The One Thing. And he said, every agent's one thing. Every single agent, your first primary objective is to figure out where your leads are coming from. That is number one. You have nothing else to do until you figure out where you're getting your leads from. That's it, number one. Leads generated. You need to know how many leads you have to generate to meet your goals. Okay, every single person that you come in contact with, you're going to have a real estate conversation with and have a follow-up system with. You're gonna follow up with that person until they do business and past that, right? You're always gonna be following. Okay, the second goal, listings. Listings generate business. We have something called listing, leads, leverage. Leads, listings, leverage. Listings, leverage, leads. Listings generate everything. It's all about listings. When you have a listing, you have buyers calling you, you have sellers calling you, neighbors. You have other agents calling you. Everyone's calling you because you have a listing. When you don't have a listing, you're the one having to make all the outgoing calls and outreach. So it's all about listings. There's a famous saying in our industry, you need to list to last. It's a famous saying, you need to list to last. But it is all about listings. Now, going forward, there's been a lot of changes. There are changes happening in our industry regarding commissions. And when we take a listing, if we can't say that we are requiring the seller to pay for buyer commissions. Now, we can suggest it, but we can't say it's required. There's gonna be a court case that's happening this coming Monday. There's also gonna be something in December, but it is something that's currently in the courts. National Association of Realtors has always been fighting for our commissions to keep them, always. But recently there have been 3 companies or 4 companies that have announced maybe separating from National Association of Realtors. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes. We're gonna be talking about it. Mike, I think there's a coffee with the broker on Friday, I think, for breakfast. There's
What
gonna be
time?
There's gonna be pastries here, I think 10 AM, I think, or 9. So we're gonna be talking about that. All right, but listings, that's all I'm saying.
You say
Listings,
Thursday?
today is, oh, is it tomorrow? No, somebody says Wednesday.
On the calendar, it's,
Is it tomorrow? Coffee with the broker tomorrow?
that's what it says.
Yeah, call
Okay.
the broker 9 AM.
All right, so 9 AM tomorrow, we should be here. Or we should either be here or be on Zoom. So there's stuff going on. Okay, third goal category, contracts written. Here's what you need to know. Number of units written, total volume written, gross income written. Basically contracts. So we need to write listing contracts, we need to write buyers, purchase agreements. That's our goal, right? So every time we talk to anyone, we need to find out if they want to write an offer on something or if they're willing to sell something. That's contracts. Fourth goal, contracts closed. So it's not enough just to have a listing, you have to have a well-priced listing. It has to be sellable. When I'm talking to a potential seller, I'm telling a seller, when the seller brings up the word listing, I'm saying to them, I don't care about your listing. I don't want your listing. I want to sell your property. There's a big difference. I don't want your listing. I don't want to carry 100 listings. I want to sell your property. That's it. That's all I care about. I have the same goal as you, sell, not list. List, it just means it's out there and I'm waiting for something now. So contracts closed. Okay, fifth goal, money. We're doing this to make money. It's simple as that. So we need to make money, and in order to do that, we have to improve our scripts and dialogues, and we have to have well-priced listings, right? It's all about the people. So again, it's just talking to people, asking them for their business, asking them to refer business to you. And then it's also about no one ever maximizes potential by himself, you'll need help. So this is also about coming here for training, obviously. We're having scripts and dialogues right now. I'm telling you exactly what I'm saying to sellers when I'm meeting with them. Systems and tools, this is all Keller Williams. We're giving you this systems and tools to grow your business. Hello. Personal education, okay. I keep open mindset. All right. This last page here is just talking about who you can market to if you run out of people in your phone book. So you can go after for sale by owners, you can go after expires. This is just for you to jar your thinking about where you can go to get business from. So again, most business is going to come from people that you know. But I would also have a geographic farm area, because you are going to do business mostly in some area, wherever that is. Even if your geographic farm area is 20 people in a little area, or 20 or 50 people, basically with your geographic farm area, those are people that you always want to just call at least once a month. Anytime you get a listing, you're gonna send them a just listed postcard. Anytime you sell something, you're gonna send them a just sold postcard, right? So let's say that postcard costs you $1 with the postage to print it, post it, everything. So if you pick 50 homes, it's gonna cost you $50. Just do it. Just do it, all right? Every time. So the goal is to keep increasing the size of your geographic farm. Gary Keller says 500 people in a geographic farm. But I can help you with this. So I can give you names, phone numbers, email addresses for any geographic farm you guys want. Okay, let's talk about the listing process. So switch this. All right, so when I go on a listing presentation, someone calls me, they're basically interested in what's my property worth, right? So I'm having a conversation with someone. Have you thought about selling your property? What do you think I can get? Okay, boom, listing presentation. What time would you like to meet? So I'm scheduling that for hopefully tomorrow. I just need to have time to prepare, right? I don't want to schedule like 1 hour from now. If my listing presentation is prepared, like the only thing that I really need to add to it are comps. That's what I'm gonna have to add, because I'm gonna have everything else pretty much prepared, but I'll show you what I'm doing. And then it's just a matter of how fast you can do it. That's up to you. Okay, so what I'm bringing with me is a folder. And this is a classification folder. A classification folder may have additional, I don't know, set partitions inside. They're 2-hole punch. And I have a label maker. I'm gonna print the address on here. So I'm coming in as a professional, right? I'm coming in with my folder. They see I've put time into this. I'm gonna have their address here. I'm also gonna write their names here, the people that I'm talking to. So I don't forget their names while I'm there. That would be really embarrassing. So I just put their names there. I can name of sellers. I wanna make sure that the sellers, that everyone's on title that is gonna be at my meeting, at my listing presentation. If it's a husband and wife, I want to make sure that both partners are there, or any partners. I just want to make sure they're there, because I don't want to rely on one of them to relay to the other person anything I said, because no one can say what you're saying. Just not gonna happen. Also, yeah,
There is another person on title, but they can't be there. Would you?
I would
strongly suggest
I would try to have a FaceTime with them.
Right.
Have my iPad on the table and do a FaceTime meeting with everyone at the same time. Yeah, I would like to do that. Because I want to answer any objections that come up during the time, and I want them to feel like they're a part of it. You have a question?
Yeah, what if would you require ID, make sure everybody's who they say they are?
So there has been fraud lately. People selling properties that don't belong to them. I know that our title officers have discussed it. Personally, I probably don't go on enough listing appointments where I'm meeting people I don't know. I'm usually meeting someone I know or was referred to me, or I'm pretty sure they're the person. I'm doing my research before I go. I'm looking them up on Facebook. I'm Googling them. I know what they're gonna look like before I walk in, pretty much, unless they're, I know who I'm meeting. I know what their age should be, right? I've talked to them on the phone. But look, it's definitely possible. Look, fraud is a real thing. But thank goodness I haven't had that experience of I have seen fake recordings.
Okay. The reason why I ask, because I'm also a notary.
Right, I have seen fake recordings. I've seen people try to sell a property they don't own. I have seen that.
If they go further up and try to make a transaction, can it be reversed?
So thank goodness, this is what we have title. Title will verify the seller
Right,
and the buyer,
right.
so that there's going to be title insurance, right? So title is there as a buffer to weed that fraud out, hopefully.
Right.
Now, just regarding fraud in general, anytime we have to advise our buyers when they make a wire transfer, they need to call whoever they're sending that wire to and verify the account number and the routing number. So the reason that's important is because the hackers are basically hacking the email addresses for the escrow companies. Okay, so let's just say Pele, our escrow officer. Someone will get access to Pele's email. Okay, and they'll actually be able to log in to the email account just like Pele can. And they will see an incoming email from an agent saying, hey, congratulations, we're opening an escrow. And the person, the hacker, will see that email come in, and they will immediately send out an email to the client, to the buyer, saying, congratulations, here's our account information, please send your deposit. And it was sent from Pele's email account, but it wasn't Pele who sent it, and it has their account information. So you need to call your buyer, make sure they have the correct phone number, and then have them call and verify the account number and routing number. Very important. Okay, what else is in my folder? So,
And the
obviously,
conversation should always be over the phone.
over the phone, absolutely.
Because you'll want a paper trail.
Absolutely, absolutely, over the phone. Well, it should be over the phone with your buyer and escrow. Right, escrow is going to contact your buyer to verify their account number, the seller to verify their account number and routing number where they want their proceeds to be sent when they sell their property, right? Escrow will call your point. All right, what's the first thing I'm gonna have in my listing presentation? A residential listing agreement. Because when I go into the appointment, I'm gonna say, is there anything you want to discuss before signing the listing? That's my whole appointment. Is there anything you want me to discuss before signing listing agreement? I could have literally a 1-minute listing appointment. All right, I'm not gonna talk myself out of a listing. Like, if they're ready to sign, I'm ready to go. Let's do it. Let's sign up. I'll get my photographer in here and we're good to go. That's it. So,
What, have you ever encountered someone who, is, because, I mean, this is the first thing that I see and because it's your number one priority.
yes, yes,
Did they ever ask like, well, can we see what you have like put together
Sure,
first
sure.
before we sign?
sure.
And how you,
Sure, okay, so thank you for bringing that up. There are 2 more things I'm gonna be bringing with me to my listing appointment. This is a marketing folder of one of the companies that will prepare flyers, postcards. So I have this with me and I can show them, like this company does, this is the company I use for all my real estate stuff. You know, all different flyers, different samples that we can choose from. And there's stuff that I can actually, they can touch. So I'll bring this with me, like I'll show them a postcard, they can touch it, feel it. Another thing that I'm bringing with me is my personal marketing folder. So any time that I do, if I'm doing an open house and I'm printing an MLS setup sheet, it's got my name on top, I'll put that in my marketing folder. Anytime I print a postcard or I print a flyer, it's gonna go in my marketing folder. Anytime I see anything that I think will be valuable for my listing presentation, it'll go in my marketing folder. So this is a marketing folder I prepared a while ago. Like here's a house that I had here in Beverly Hills that I sold, so I'll show them that. Here are the door hangers I had made for a property, I'll show them that, you know, I can do that. I also have here before and after photos, I'll show them what staging is. This is actually a digitally staged property. So I'm gonna show them what digitally staged looks like. Right. So I'll tell them what I can, I wanna show them what I can do with a property. Right, everyone see it? So I'm gonna tell them what the MLS caravan is. Tuesday broker open houses. And I'm gonna show them what their ad's gonna look like. The agents, full page ad maybe in the Caravan magazine. I'm gonna show them a showcase ad. I'm gonna show them LA Times. You know, this is the LA Times Saturday. We're gonna have that ad going. There's a Sunday, what the Sunday LA Times is. You're gonna have an open house listing in the Sunday LA Times. Here's my property website. You know, your property is gonna have its own website. This is what it's gonna look like when people get there. It's gonna be a full page. They can download a flyer for the property. They can set up an appointment with me online. Here's my booking page for appointments. I'm gonna show them just samples of things that I've made, what an MLS setup sheet looks like. I'm gonna talk about this company. They deliver flyers to agents' inboxes. So every agent in this office, you should have a folder in the mailroom with your name on it. If mail comes to this office with your name, it goes in your folder in the mailroom. There's a company that will deliver these flyers to agents all over San Fernando Valley, West Side, Long Beach, Oxnard, Ventura County. You can pay this company, they'll print however many flyers you want and deliver in every agent's inbox, they'll put a flyer. Right, so this is my value proposition. This is what I'm telling a seller I'm doing. Has any other agent showed you this? Right? I'm showing them ads I can take. You know, you see those follow me ads, like on Face, like, you know how you Google something and then every website you go, you'll see that trying to be sold to you. They're called follow me ads through your cookies. You can do that. And Keller Williams has that. We have a really good discount thing that you can do with that. So it's something you can talk about. Another thing I'm going to talk about is we have, when you list with us, there's also we have a seller protection plan, which will ensure the seller they can have a $25,000 policy or $50,000 policy, or if they get sued by the buyer. So they get a free policy with us if they list with us. This is through our Arizona insurance company. And that's just for listing with our company. They're going to get either $25,000 or $50,000 of insurance. What's how do they get the difference?
Yeah.
By the home warranty company. If we use one of our 3 home warranty companies, First American, Fidelity, or Old Republic, then they'll get $50,000 in insurance. So we can talk about that. Here's a certificate. And any testimonials that you guys have, whenever you do any transaction with anyone, ask them to do a Yelp review or a Google review. All those testimonials you should print. Anyone who's ever written you a letter. I had a referral that was given to me by the first agent ever to sign up with Keller Williams. His name is Gary Gentry, and he was the first Keller Williams agent. So here's a letter that he wrote to me. Actually, this is about him. This is the letter that he wrote. This is the email that he wrote to me. So, you know, I'll share that. So, you know, anything you can do to impress a seller is good.
And I should know this, but where did Keller Williams start?
Keller, I think it started in the I know that book was written.
No,
in the 80s.
where?
Where? So we're based in Austin, Texas.
Austin. Okay.
Yeah, Gary Keller's from Austin. I'm not sure if he started in Dallas, but I know we are based in Austin. All right, what else is in my listing presentation folder? Okay, title. We have a great title. We have 3 great title reps here. Jerry Ferris is our in-house title guy. He's with Clearmark Title. If you need an account with Jerry and Clearmark Title, email Jerry at jerry@clearmarktitle.com. JERRY @clearmarktitle.com. That you?
Yeah, I thought it.
So just send Jerry an email. Please set up an account for me with Clearmark. I'm a KW agent. So how do I know who my seller is? I think how do I know who the seller is? And when I'm writing an offer, I need to know the sellers that I'm writing the offer to, that I can put them on the contract, because elements of a contract, you have to have a buyer and seller. So you have to name the seller. Well, I go to clearmarktitle.com and I will find the grant deed that the most recent grant deed that the seller is on, because I need to know who they are. That's how I find
Go
it.
to Clearmark Title.
I go to Clearmark
You can't
Title.
just pull up the title report through MLS.
You can go on the MLS and you can look at public records, but it may not take everyone on title. I want to see the actual grant deed.
Oh,
The actual grant deed is going to give me all the sellers,
Stamped.
and it's going to tell me it's the thing that was recorded
Right.
from seller A to buyer A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So I need to know if it's in a trust. I need to know who the trustee is, or trustees are, right? So I'm only going to know that by going to the title.
So when you pull that, you're doing that like yourself.
Yeah, I'm doing it
You're going
myself.
on-
So this is a big value that we as agents have to the rest of the world that doesn't have access to that. This is a huge value. So anybody that you guys are talking to, you're their resource. You know, part of your real estate conversation is if you ever have any questions about any property, want to find out who owns something, how to get in contact, how to get in touch with them. You know, I have that information. Call me. I can if I don't have it, I'll get it. So that's a big resource of value that we have. So I have the property report from title with the grantee. I know exactly who's on my listing agreement. And who needs to be present.
You're pulling that yourself, then what service is Clearmark actually providing you?
They're insuring the buyer. So Clearmark Title is an insurance company. They're insuring the buyer that the buyer will actually be owning that property outright.
Okay,
So if you're buying a property for cash and you don't have title insurance, you're taking a lot of risk. What are you gonna do with someone that comes out of the woodwork and says, oh, you're the owner of this property? The previous owner signed this loan, this note for $100,000 secured against this property. You're the new owner, I want my 100,000. Because it's signed against this property. There's title insurance for that,
okay,
right?
I understand.
Now, another thing that like, this question just came up to me a couple of weeks ago, and it was something that I was thinking about years ago. If a property is owned by an LLC, or the LLC has the vesting, can someone just buy the LLC and now own the property,
Why wouldn't they?
right? So think about that. The property is held and vested in an LLC.
Because it's.
And then I sell the LLC to my friend. He's now the owner of the LLC and he owns the property. And then the property was not reassessed. He's still paying the old property tax that I was paying. Right? So here's the issue.
What about title insurance?
The title insurance. So, and it's a company. He bought a company. The company could have debts on it. Title's not insuring against that. Right? It's an issue. So
You call that a lien? What is that?
Well,
it's not a lien. It's the property's vested in an LLC or a corporation. And then you sell the business, which owns the property. But when you sell a business, the buyer of the business is assuming all liabilities to that business.
which could be.
So just like that person coming out of the woodwork saying, I signed a note on this property, they, my business could have borrowed from here and borrowed from there and borrowed from there. And now that owner of the business owes all those debts.
So
So there's no insurance for that. That's what I'm saying.
so they don't transfer the lien? I mean, they don't transfer,
No, so basically what's gonna happen is you're gonna use title and you're gonna get your property insured, but you're not buying the LLC. Or you are, but title is insuring the sale of the property also at the same time.
Okay.
So the important part is title insurance, right? So you want to have title insurance as a buyer to protect your interest in the property. You want to have title insurance. What else is in here? My seller's estimated sheet. Remember I said I'm gonna have Pele or escrow make an estimated seller sheet. That's gonna be in there from escrow. Okay.
but don't you need to know, my question before, don't you need for an estimated net sheet, don't you need to know what their balance is?
Yes, so you need to know what the,
What they owe on the property?
yeah, so she'll look it up.
Okay,
Oh, we're not gonna know what the remaining owed is.
that's what I'm saying. So.
Yeah, we're not gonna know that. So if they got a loan 5 years ago, we'll know what the original loan amount is, but we won't know what their payoff is. Right, because they may have been paying it down. Yeah,
What's normally the turnaround rate for the net sheet?
same day.
Same day?
Yeah. Unless you're emailing them at 4:59 PM.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe she'll stay a few minutes late and do it for you. I don't know. Okay, comps. This is the big one. Comps from the MLS. So I'm gonna do different reports in the MLS. So when I do my comps, again, comps are only properties that have sold. Comp is a sold. I don't care if someone's asking $3 million for a $1 million property, right? That's not a comp.
And you go back 6 months?
So I will go back 6 months. I'll also go back farther than 6 months, but I'm keeping in mind that an appraiser can only go back 6 months. So that's something I'm aware of and something that I'm gonna have a conversation with the seller about. Hopefully there have been sales in the past 6 months, hopefully. I really want to try to do the appraiser's work for them. I want to provide the appraiser the comps that are justifying the sale price of the property. And I'm telling the seller that on my listing appointment, like this is, first we have to sell the property to the buyer, then we need to sell the property to the appraiser. Okay. But these are the different reports, formats that I'm providing. A column report, a feature sheet, and a market analysis. So those are all different reports that you guys will be able to get through the MLS. The column report just lists the properties really easy. All on one line, so you can see that you're comparing a 3-bedroom, 2-bath to a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and the square footages and the lot sizes. A feature sheet is the full sheet, so I'm gonna have that with me also. My feature sheet is gonna say the remarks on the property, the agent remarks. This is gonna get more detailed because here I'm getting into, was the property a fixer or not, right? How are the upgrades in the property? There's also a feature in the MLS where there's a link to Cloud CMA. I like to use Cloud CMA a lot because it blows up those pictures. And it just shows the seller that I'm talking to how good those upgrades actually are in the kitchen. Like, is it old granite or is it the new quartz style with movement, you know? So things are constantly being improved on by builders. A builder is always saying, how can I build something even better than the last thing I built? So, you know, it's interesting, like something from 2005 doesn't seem that old, 2010 even, but it could be, like, it could be newer, but it's outdated already.
Formica.
Yeah, yeah, so now there are people that love mid-century modern, right? They love period stuff. You might walk into some gorgeous houses and the bathrooms are still Art Deco. They'll have the yellow and black or the pink and black or the green and black. And people just leave them because they are appreciated by a lot of people. Now, here's another thing. I'm gonna have with me schools. If you go to Google and you go LAUSD School Finder, or if I'm going to Santa Barbara, you know, Santa Barbara School Finder, whatever area, but if it's LAUSD, I'm just gonna go to the school finder, I'm gonna put in the address, it's gonna tell me the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school. I'm gonna have that information ready, at the ready. And I'm also gonna go to this website, school-ratings.com. At school-ratings, it's gonna tell me how the school is rated. Is it a 6 out of 10, 7, 8, 9, or 10 out of 10 school? A lot of times the elementary school will have the highest rating. The high school will have a horrible rating. That's often the case. But whatever school has the best rating is gonna be on top. Because I just want the seller to know when there are buyers that are coming into the open house, I'm gonna be promoting the school district that this property's in, right? I'm prepared for that conversation.
Or not.
Or not, or I'm gonna be promoting the private schools in this area. But look, again, other agents aren't sharing this with the seller, right? This is how we're separating ourselves from other agents if they are interviewing any other agents. So National Association of Realtors says people are only interviewing, 75% of sellers are only interviewing one agent. 75%. One agent. Okay, so, but just in case they are talking to someone else, I'm showing them what I can do. Now, if you're meeting with a family member or you're a really close friend, don't think that you don't have to do this. You really have to do this, even more so. Like, really show your family and your friends what you're doing. It's really important. MLS listing input sheet. Another thing I'm gonna print out is from the MLS. If you go into the MLS and you go to help forms or into my share folder, you'll see the MLS listing input sheet. And it's gonna be like 30 pages. I print, you know, 2-sided, and it's gonna be all the check boxes, how to input the property into the MLS. You know, what's in the kitchen, what appliances are coming with the property, what are the views, parking situation, how many parking, how many fireplaces, where, gas, wood only. So all those different things that you need the information to put into the MLS, I'm gonna have that with me. Now, I'm usually filling that out at the photography appointment. When my photographer is busy doing his thing, I'll be walking around the property out of his way, checking all the boxes. What else is in here?
You're filling that out during what?
Inspections. I'm filling it out during my photography. This is the listing input sheet. Inspections, so maybe the seller has previous inspections that we need to disclose. If the seller has any reports that we need to disclose, I'm getting them from them. If the property is a condominium, it has an HOA, it has CCNRs, it has rules and regulations. I need to get those from the seller, because I need to know, if I'm listing a condo, I need to know if there are rental restrictions. Can a buyer come in and immediately lease the property? There's a lot of restrictions lately on Airbnb, right? So I need to know, is that allowed here? Sometimes there's a rental restriction on time, meaning you can't have less than a 30-day rental, right? Some people want a year minimum. There are some, I don't know what you'd call it, golden age communities, I don't know. It's a minimum age. There are some communities, they want 55 and older only. They have no kids on their CCNRs. So is that legal? I guess it is, like it's been happening. So that's all I want. The questions that people are gonna come for a condo, can I have pets? What are the pet restrictions? Can I have pets? Can I put a barbecue on the balcony? What are the rental restrictions? Does the property have earthquake insurance? What's included in the HOA fee? How much is the HOA fee? Earthquake insurance is a good question. So that's pretty much it. And I don't want to forget, you're there to get your listing signed. So just like I said in the beginning, is there anything you want to discuss before we sign the listing? That really, don't talk yourself out of a listing. Yeah.
A question.
Yes.
You were saying earlier that the insurance was to protect the buyer.
So I'm talking, okay, so when we're talking about title insurance, the title insurance, the seller usually pays for a policy that protects the buyer. That the buyer is going to be the owner and no one else is going to claim ownership on that property or that they have any interest in the property. So the seller will pay that for a buyer. If the buyer gets a loan, the buyer will pay title insurance for the lender. So the seller pays for the buyer's insurance. If the buyer gets a loan, the buyer will pay for the lender's title insurance. That's always how it's been historically. Now, things may be different here in Southern California than they are in Northern California. Different areas may have different procedures. What's common? Here in Southern California, in the LA area, a seller will usually pay for title insurance for the buyer, and the buyer will usually pay for title insurance for the lender. The seller will usually pay for a home warranty for their buyer. It's a request, they don't have to. But a home warranty is a policy that covers appliances, electrical, plumbing. It could be anywhere from $400 up to $1,200 or more. But it could cover pool equipment, the garage door opener, springs on the garage, just those kind of things. It's called a home warranty. And then what will happen is if anything goes wrong in the property, the buyer will pay a service call and the home warranty company will come out and fix it, whatever it is. It's also customary here that the buyer and seller will each pay escrow fees. And termite sellers usually, now it's a request from the buyer that the seller will pay for termite. It's a request, seller doesn't have to, but historically the seller has paid for actual damage. So anything that's termite damaged, wood rot, normally the seller would pay for it. So again, everything's a negotiation. The other thing that a seller you can maybe request from a seller are hazards. So after the general inspection, so tomorrow we have a class on the buyer, on the buyer process, but usually if the inspector finds like open electrical wires, exposed wires, or anything dangerous, we can ask the seller to do it. The seller does not have to, but usually the seller can be asked for something like that and they'll comply.
So
Okay, so if the buyer, you said something about if the buyer gets a loan, then
So the lender is gonna have fees, right? How much does it cost to get the loan? But the lender is also gonna ask the buyer to pay for an insurance policy from title. So the buyer will pay a small fee. It's a small fee. So let's say let's say the seller is paying $2,000 for the insurance for the buyer. The buyer will pay, say, $300 for the insurance for the lender. It's just a small add-on fee. It's not a lot.
an insurance for the, oh,
For the
insurance
lender. For the lender.
for the lender, not the seller.
Correct. Seller pays for the buyer pays for his loan or her loan. Yeah. Any other questions? Listing process, yes.
yeah. Back to condos, I just wanna know, I guess the difference between what's included in homeowners insurance versus,
So
HOA.
so again, great question.
Or
So
is it?
different condos have different types of insurances. When your buyer is in escrow, the lender is gonna be asking to see the insurance policy. The lender wants to make sure that they're insured. Because the lender doesn't want to be out, they're the bulk of the money. The lender is the majority of the money. They want to make sure their interest is insured. So the building will have a master policy. And then the master policy can be called, they have walls in, there's different terms for the types of policies that the condo has. So a lot of condos will give you an empty shell. That's their insurance, empty shell. And then you'll have to have additional insurance to build out the kitchen, the appliances, closets, right? They're gonna give you an empty shell. Other condos will have everything inside except your personal belongings is insured. So they'll give you the kitchen cabinets and the appliances and they'll replace all of that. So what the buyer is actually gonna get is a personal property policy. And then they might have to add some kind of policy to get the walls in or not, where they'll have the bathrooms, right, the
Personal
toilet.
property.
Personal property, my personal belongings, that's my clothing, my firearms.
So it's just
My
property insurance or.
silverware, cups, yeah, like
what
that's
that would be called.
jewelry, furs.
Jewelry.
Yeah, the insurance company is gonna ask all those questions.
And the homeowners insurance is, what you're saying is it could be kind of tiered to depending on, or sorry, not tiered, but it can include a variety of things, but I guess the minimum would probably be like if there's like leaks in the walls or.
So, okay, so good, so the leaks in the walls, so the question is, you're gonna have to look in the CCNRs, who's responsible for a leak in the wall. It could be that the condo is responsible for everything that happens inside the wall. Or it could be that the condo association is only responsible up until the wall and everything in the wall that's yours is your responsibility, so it's a good thing to look into.
And
Your insurance company as the buyer, your insurance company will let you know like what's going on with the insurance.
the homeowners insurance.
There's gonna be a master policy.
Is always going to be included with HOA fees or.
The HOA fee includes the insurance, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now, what's gonna happen as a buyer, the lender will probably require you repay a whole year of insurance as part of your closing costs. They're gonna wanna have a 1-year policy in place.
Who's that now?
So if let's say you're buying a condo for $575,
Mm.
your actual costs to buy that condo are gonna probably be like $579 or more, depending on your loan fees. There's gonna be some closing costs. You're gonna have an escrow fee, you're gonna have maybe a title fee for your lender. And then you'll have to reimburse the seller for some property tax that they paid for. But you're also gonna have your insurance. as a buyer. You have to pay that insurance policy. So it's gonna cost you a little more than just your price. Now, I've been seeing lately, for the first time, I've been seeing offers being written that are asking for the seller, for a seller credit up front. Starting to see this, where, let's say you want a property for 575, right? And your buyer has, say, 5% down. I've seen lenders ask that the deal be structured where you make an offer for 585 and then credit 10,000 back to the buyer. And that's helping the buyer with those closing costs. So I'm seeing that a lot now. I think it's gonna get to be more common. Because I'm
Just adding their closing costs.
adding the, correct, you're adding it to the price, then getting it credited
Not
back.
coming up with as much cash.
Exactly. I am seeing that a lot. Yeah, I mean,
Can you go over that one more time?
yes, so you're gonna see offers now
Yes.
where the offer, say, comes at a price, but there's a line in the purchase agreement that says seller will credit buyer $10,000 towards closing costs. So if you get an offer for 575 with a $10,000 credit to the buyer, it's actually an offer for 565. Right, because there's a $10,000 credit involved.
And what's the,
The advantage to the buyer is that they may not have that extra money for the closing costs. Like they can buy the 575 property, but they're not gonna be able to pay for the insurance, the loan fees, like they don't have that extra money. So it's allowing the deal to go through.
so it's not so much of an advantage as it's just
It's
more
basically the-
articulating
it's the buyer.
exactly what
Yeah.
they,
It's the buyer rolling in those closing costs into their loan,
right,
right? So you're gonna see that a lot.
and communicating that this is
Yeah, it needs to be communicated,
this is my-
this is what's happening.
seal.
So, I mean, basically, if I'm submitting an offer to a listing agent like that, I'm telling the listing agent upfront, this is how the lender wanted us to formulate the offer. So we are writing for 575, but it's really like 565. We're just telling him upfront, like, this is how we're doing it,
And that's,
to make the loan work.
and that's something that a lender might suggest?
Yes, yeah, because the lender knows how they're getting their buyer approved. Yeah, so I'm always talking to the lender when I'm writing my offer. Because I need to know from the lender how long they need to close escrow. Can they do a 30-day escrow, 45 days, 60 days? Right now, interest rates just ticked up, I think, a little bit. If interest rates go down now to 7.25, there's gonna be a ton of refinancing that happens. So lenders might all of a sudden get busy and then all of a sudden they can't close a 30-day escrow anymore. They'll have to be 45 or 60 days. So I'm always contacting the lender. How long do you need for escrow? How long do you need for loan approval? How long do you need for appraisal? And then the last thing, which they might not want to answer, what they have to answer. What rate should I be putting in my offer? What's the rate and how many points? Because you need to write that in your offer, what the rate and points are. So it's a conversation the lender better have with the buyer, right? So they're
Why
telling
would
them
they be shy about that?
because they don't want to lose the business. Like all of a sudden they're quoting 8.25% to the buyer and they don't want the buyer to say, I'm going to a different lender, right? So the buyer has to know, obviously they have to know. So, I mean, let's have the conversation right now. Right, so, but the buyer may have been approved last week or 2 weeks ago, or even a month ago for 7.5%. And now rates are at 8.25. Right, so is the buyer may not be able to borrow the same thing he was able to borrow 2 weeks ago. Not that much difference, but.
So that was rate, and what else?
The rate and points.
And points.
So what is the point? One point is
1%.
1%, right? So if you're borrowing $1 million, 1 point is $10,000. If you're borrowing $100, 1 point is of $1.
Right, so you
Right.
want to explain that to your
The buyer will need to know that, yeah, that's the cost of the
to your
loan.
buyer.
Yeah,
And they do points just to get cash in the hand quickly, right?
yeah.
Premium,
So
actually.
the lender will be making that money. They're facilitating the loan. If you see a 0-point loan, usually the lender is getting credited back money from the lender. The lender is a loan officer, a loan broker. They're getting money back from the lender. to pay them. They're getting paid by the lender, so.
So
That's
one
the listing
percent of
process.
1% of the loan. So if
It's
it's a
1
$1
point.
million, I'm sorry, 1 point is 1% of the loan.
10,000.
So
10,000, yeah. So it'd be a
no,
million
I'm
divided by
sorry,
100.
it's $10,000. So if they come in, say, and they pay 50% down, then they're only getting a loan for 500,000.
I placed an order for
And then it'll be
the Postmates, and I was just wondering if it's
$5,000.
ready. It's been like taking forever.
Can I get some food also?
Yeah, we want food.
We want food too.
Now, they don't always have to pay a point. A point is just helping out.
A point, well, the lender might require it to make the loan.
The lender may require points.
Right, so a lender may say, I can give you an 8.25% rate with 1 point. If you want 0 points, your rate's gonna be 8.75 or 9%.
Right. And
So-
that's what you gotta explain to your buyers, because they all think it's gonna be 6%. Or
Not anymore,
whatever.
not anymore, not anymore.
Right, but that's what that's in their minds. So I think it's real good to educate your buyers, the people you're working with, that you should educate them, because I've gone through the process.
The conversation I'm having with a buyer right now is, this is where interest rates are right now. Don't lose out on a house that you really like because interest rates are where they're at. It doesn't happen often that you find a house that you really like. If interest rates go down, you can refinance. And if interest rates continue to go up, you'll be happy that you got in now.
Right.
That's the conversation, because we have no control over interest rates. But don't lose out on the
Right.
house that you really like because it's a high interest rate.
Right.
It's
You can
It's only
always
high interest rate now
refi.
because we've had a prolonged time of low interest rates, artificially low interest rates. Interest rates have usually been around 7.25 historically.
Right.
7.25 was a very common rate for a long time.
Right.
We've had crazy low rates the past 10 years. I mean, you could basically have borrowed money less than the inflation rate, which makes no sense at all. So that's why we're in the problem we have.
So how much of a change in the interest rate is worth refining?
So that's a lender question. I have no idea. Because every loan's different and the difference is gonna change, so, you know. There are money managers that would also say, don't refinance ever. And just get the loan paid off as fast as you can. Because every time you refinance, you're extending your loan period. And all the interest is being paid up front.
Because you're already getting a 30% fix usually, and people don't stay in their house for 30 years, so it really doesn't matter.
But there's,
unless you,
in this world of predatory lending, every time you refinance, you're extending your loan period, and then all the interest is being paid up at the front. So there are those who would say, even if interest rates are going down, don't refinance, continue to pay off your loan. You can make extra payments toward the principal, pay off the loan as fast as you can. That would be the best financial advice, probably. Just pay it off as fast as you can.
but if the person's 50 or 60 years old, they're not gonna run a 30-year loan and try to pay it off if they're paying.
That's pretty funny. So when you're 60 years old, should you be able to get a 30-year loan? That's funny. 70, it's not so funny.
But
yeah.
I mean,
Just having that conversation, I think we're going to be headed to a place of 40, 50, 90-year loans. I think there's going to be new things coming, new 40, 50, 90-year loan programs coming out because of how expensive property is. And the government wants people to own property. They want people to own property because it's a forced savings. There will be loan products. There are loan products out there right now for 40 years. But I think we will be seeing 50 or 90 or.
Cars always used to be 4 years.
Cars 4 years or 5, 7 years, yeah, yeah.
I'm 82 and I can't get a loan because they think I'm gonna die.
Really?
Yes, sir,
And you were told that by a lender?
many times.
Wow. So.
They don't say I'm gonna die.
No,
They
that's
say, no, I'm not capable of paying it back
Very
in their timeframe.
Okay, so then I would say, can I buy a life insurance policy insuring the lender for the payoff amount?
Oh,
Right.
That's how I would counter that.
So her,
But what if they commit suicide?
Are you not?
2 years.
I think
You wouldn't be covered.
I think you're still covered. I think,
You're still-
I think there's a 2-year.
Okay.
I think
2-year
it's a
minimum.
2-year. Yeah, but I would insure my lender with a life insurance policy to pay off loan. And that's how I would solve that.
Jesus, that's dystopian.
And then now, that particular insurance policy should have a declining, or actually, I guess it won't have a declining rate. I was gonna say, because as the principal goes down, your insurance policy goes down, right? But I would just ask that question, if you can do that, yeah.
Life has security.
The life insurance policy has a security for life.
Yeah.
It's also a great tool for any inheritors, right? That's how a lot of taxes are offset by life insurance policies. So, yeah, that's where my brain goes.
Say Rhino. Say Rhino, it's a company, they do insurance as a
Financial.
alternative to like first and last month's rent. Like if you can't pay all of that, it's that. If you haven't, then no worries.
Say Rhino. Okay, I'll look into it.
A new animal I've been.
Okay, good. I'll look into it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions about the listing? Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about what you leave when you're at the listing presentation or appointment. I mean, I know you don't leave your marketing plan, but what do you leave anything for the
Yes.
seller?
So in my shared folder, I do have listing presentations. Our marketing department will be able to prepare a listing presentation for you. And then I will include in my listing presentation comps, which I'll leave. And I'll also include in there seller suggestions on selling a property. Which we'll look at when we get into command on Monday. I'll show you where all that stuff is. There's a lot of stuff in command for sellers. So, but it's also in my listing. I have a listing folder. It's in there, stuff in there.
Okay, you leave them that information then?
Yeah.
Those documents?
Yeah. The only thing I'm not leaving with them is my marketing plan.
Okay.
Because I don't want them to say, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't do that. I want a discount or something, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna try to sell the property as fast as I can. Right, so there may be things on my marketing plan I didn't get to. I don't want them to come back at me and say, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. I want a credit, obviously I don't want that to happen.
Right. And
But-
are you leaving the signed listing agreement? Or obviously you're taking?
So the listing agreement, I will sign it with them and I will tell them that I will scan it and send it right back to them when I get back to the office. Or if they're not signing on the spot, I will send it to them via DocuSign.
Okay.
Most of the time, everything we do is DocuSign.
Yeah.
But the reason that you're going on a listing appointment is to get a signed listing. Always ask for the business.
Mhm.
And if they're not signing, say, what's the reason that you're not ready to sign right now? I want to get to the objection. I think I'm having a class. I think I have a class on objections tomorrow morning.
Excuse me.
I think that's our, yeah.
I don't like leaving without it being signed because they're gonna fuck around.
Right.
So I don't even like DocuSign because they've got time to do ABC and activity.
So now we need to find out why they won't sign. What's the objection?
And then what's your experience of they say anything, I'm telling you.
What's the objection? So an objection could be, we haven't interviewed anyone else yet. We want to interview other people. That could be an objection.
Exactly.
What do you think someone else can tell you that I haven't? I don't know. I haven't interviewed them yet. What can I do? So then,
You're stuck, really.
what can I do to get this signed right now? Because I want to get it moving.
Yeah.
You said you want to get sold by this date. I showed you my marketing plan. These are the comps. No one's gonna be able to show you other comps. These are the comps.
What's the problem?
What's the issue? Then we start digging into really what's the issue. We might find out something that they
They didn't
didn't tell
reveal,
us.
and they do that.
Yes, for sure.
They certainly do that. They hide.
And I need to know the truth. I need to get to the truth.
opportunities.
So, but I need to know, if they're hesitant to sign, I need to know why. It could be that they have a realtor, family friend or someone that they were going to be using and they were only using you for a price. And that's why I don't give a price.
Gotcha.
I don't give it.
Thank you.
I don't want to lose my listing because I gave them a lower price than someone else.
Yeah.
They're just price shopping. They're gonna go with the agent that gives them the highest price.
Yeah, they always have a family member.
Could be.
A lot of them have family, they say.
Yeah, so now,
When they
Yeah.
when they have more than one family member, you ask them which one they dislike the most.
so if they bring up a family member that they're gonna be going with, so great, can I co-list it with them?
Can I what?
Can I co-list it?
Oh,
Will
okay.
they be open to co-listing? And then you're gonna get all my marketing.
Yeah.
I don't wanna walk out empty-handed,
No,
right?
after this time, no.
Right, but it's really important you get to the truth and get to the truth as fast as possible.
Well, should you take a should they write out and sign? You want a signed agreement before you leave. So is that through on the computer or?
I
should
will
you
always
have
have
your
I will
sheets?
always have a printed listing agreement ready for them to sign, and it will always say 6%.
Okay,
I can
once you
always,
have,
I
once
can
you have
always
that,
cross out the 6 and put 5.5 or 5, but I can't go the opposite way.
once you have that listing agreement, you can walk out the house happy.
Once I have listing agreement, I will walk out of the house, click my heels and jump up and down and scream, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes,
Wonderful.
and then it's just about getting the listing photo ready and getting your photographer in there and getting it on the market.
Now that virtual, the virtual tour, that's not just a regular photographer, so I don't believe. So you have to look up a specific virtual tour photographer.
So there's all different things you can do. Go on Yelp, go on Google, just search Los Angeles property photographer. You're gonna find companies that do regular photography. There's gonna be companies that do virtual staging. There's gonna be companies that do 360 photography, aerial drone photography, Matterport virtual walkthrough photography.
Yeah.
So basically any company that you hire, look at their prices, look at samples of stuff that they've done, make sure that you like it. Don't overspend for your property. Like if you're going for a $400,000 condo, you don't need to spend, $2,000 in photos. But if you are listing a $2 million property, yeah, the seller is going to expect really high-end stuff from you, especially being a Beverly Hills agent, right?
Now that's when they show your property and then all of a sudden your furniture disappears and new furniture appears.
They can do that.
That's,
So virtual staging would be empty property, they're adding to it. And then there's something else, what they'll call it, they can actually do redesigns. I mean, you can actually have companies do full remodels virtually, yeah.
Right.
so when you have the comps, can't they compute what the price could be?
Yes, sure. I'm doing that with the seller.
Yeah, so when they don't want to sign, what's the real reason?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. Let's sign this. What's the holdup? So what would another seller objection be?
Yeah,
Um,
so what,
They have-
so
they
what
have
do
to
you
speak-
get?
they have
What do you get
to
in
speak to
your?
their spouse.
Right.
So you want
Their spouse should be there. Let's get the spouse on the.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have even started
Right.
without those people in.
Oh,
You want
also,
all the-
when you go to that appointment, try to get to the kitchen table. Do your
Right.
listing presentation at the kitchen table, not in the dining room. Because they don't ever go to the dining room. Be in the kitchen
Right.
where they're most comfortable, and also don't sit between them where you have to
Right.
look at them
Yeah, right,
separately.
face them.
You want to face both of them. You don't want them
Yeah, got you.
making motions to each other
Yeah.
when you can't see,
Got
Right.
right? Because I could be talking to the husband and the wife is going, right? I don't want that.
it.
So I want to talk to them both. I also prefer early morning appointments or right after dinner appointments. If there are no young kids. If it's 3 p.m. or 3:30 p.m. and they're really hungry, that's a guaranteed no, they're not signing anything. Just when people are hungry and tired.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a yes out of them, just in general. When they're energized, like right in the morning, right after lunch, right after dinner, great. If there's little kids involved and the kids are screaming, mommy, daddy, I need to go to bed, whatever, that's a bad time to have a listing appointment.
And I don't know if I missed it, but if they say, will you leave it with us so we can review it thoroughly before we sell?
So I'd like to try to do it now.
Right.
Can we go through it now? It won't take me that long. Okay. I'd like to
Because
try
you
to
wanna
get,
get
I'd like to
started.
try to, yeah, I'd like to try to get through it. Is there anything that you think might be in here that you might have an issue with? Like, we can talk about it right now. Commission. Right? If they're not bringing up commission, maybe you should be the one bringing it up. Right? Maybe that's their objection and they're afraid to voice it. Right? So we need to have that conversation. So if they're not ready to sign, let's talk about commissions.
You have to send your commission and sign with you.
So let's talk about commissions. I'm glad you brought it up. So basically well, okay, here's where we're gonna get into trouble now because things are changing in the industry. But my dialogue has always been, we have to offer, or I guess this dialogue's okay. We need to be, I wanna be competitive. We wanna sell your property. I wanna be competitive with other properties that are currently active. These are the advertised commissions that are being paid to the buyer's agent for these other active listings. So let's just say they're all 2.5%, right?
That's what the comps did, yeah.
Yeah, let's just say, this one's offering 2.5, this one's offering 2.5. We have to offer the same thing to be competitive, right?
I got it.
If we're discounting a commission to the buyer's agent, we're coming off as a discount property. This is not a discount property. It's a gorgeous property. You should pay a full commission. And hopefully we're gonna get top dollar for the property. That's your goal, right? I have the same goal as you. So let's come on, we're offering full commission. We're gonna get the most money for the property. So now, and keep in mind, these commissions are split. So half of that commission goes to the buyer's agent. Now, out of my commission, I'm paying all my marketing fees, my advertising, my time, getting all my vendors. I'm here, I'm negotiating for you. Let's talk about my negotiation. What you're paying me to negotiate for you. The other agent that offered to do it for less, did they have a commission conversation with you, or did they just offer to do it at a lower rate? If they offered to do it at a lower rate and can't even ask for a standard commission, why would you hire them to negotiate for your house?
Got it.
You're gonna hire a person that didn't even try to get a full commission?
So that's saying that the person is not gonna fight for.
Why? They couldn't fight for themselves. Why would they fight for you? Now, if they want, at that point, if they're still trying to hammer me, look, it's a business decision. I want the business, I want the listing. Now, now the question is, are they realistic in their price? Right? I need to know that they're realistic. If I know I have a sale, then I'll be more willing to negotiate something.
If you're listing, you're also setting the buyer's agents.
So what protects a seller is in our listing agreement, it says the total commission, and it also says what will be advertised to the buyer's agent. That actually protects the seller. It means we're not listing at 6% and offering 1% to the buyer's agent.
Right,
But the seller knows that they're gonna be competitive in the marketplace.
do you ever split it like 60/40?
So,
As the listing agent.
so if you list it less than 2.5%, the property will have a discount attached to it, right? It will be perceived as a discount.
But what if it's 6% and you do it
Right.
3.5, 2.
Right, so I would say, my dialogue has always been, we need to be competitive. We have to offer at least 2.5% to the buyer's agent.
I mean, if I can show, if I'm the buyer's agent, if I show them somewhere I'm making 3% instead of 2.5, I'm gonna show them 3 before the 2.5.
That's normal, that's a normal thing, like a buyer, if a buyer's agent, I'm not talking about me, I'm gonna show you everything, right? But a buyer's agent is, if they're looking at the commissions, and this property is offering 3%, 3%, 3%, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2. You know, do you think that they're gonna be showing you your property first or the other person? Yeah, but that's.
I imagine 2.5 minimum.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, where this conversation is gonna be going in the future depends on these new court cases coming up right now. Because my dialogue has always been, we have to offer at least 2.5%. I'm not sure that I can have that same sentence anymore. I don't know.
what court cases?
The court, so basically there were a bunch of sellers in New England that got together and said it was unfair that they were forced to pay buyer side commissions up front.
I'll look into that.
That's what's going on. So,
Thank you, Jay.
okay, all right, guys. Tomorrow, we're gonna make some cold calls. I'm gonna make sure I can do it. I can get my spreadsheet. I'll just print out some numbers.
You're doing 2 classes.
There are 2 classes. I think objections is the class tomorrow.
Yes.
It is. So scripts and dialogues at 10, and then the buyer process at 11.
Okay, 10 and 11.
Yeah.
And Michael will be through with his brokers discussion.
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. I'm gonna, yeah, I think it's at 9 o'clock. Yeah.
What was that? What's at 9 o'clock?
Wrote coffee with the broker.
Oh,
Oh, no. That poor lady. That poor lady. What was in the house?
It's just abandoned.
Okay, but she didn't have personal items.
She didn't know.
All right, well, thank God for that.
I know.
And where did you say you got that?
JJ, by the way.
I got mine just, I think through my Apple Music. I don't know if you've got Apple Music.
I don't know.
Okay.
Publishing deals through.
And you,
And I torment. I used to
Yeah,
have.
this computer
You
guy.
would have to have an Apple account.
I know Michael Maloney.
Yeah, he was always fighting me. I said, well, anyway, I never completed it and he was fighting me
Yeah, I'll get
because I
back to
knew
you
a lot
about that,
of.
but I'll say, just look up,
Dead now.
maybe go to YouTube and,
Wanted that list,
you know, to go to
you
YouTube.
Why would I give my?
Right, I
And
know.
how stupid do you think
It'll pop right.
women are?
No.
It's about that.
Just
I
do
think-
YouTube and
So,
put this in and say
Yeah.
audio, see if there's a
I'm
search.
just telling you,
Maybe
that's
on-
my experience. You're not in my.
No,
skin,
there
one
are-
understands my skin.
there are mentors that want to be on a code. They want to have their name on that code list. I don't care. Like,
Yeah, okay, good. But I would like to do that.
You
because
figure that out, I'll check with you on it tomorrow. You'll be here tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, I'll see.
Take care. Have a
Yeah,
good-
So
How do you do for doing like?
potential sellers, everyone, yeah.
I talk to everyone.
That's it.
I'm
So
not
anything,
effective,
no,
so I-
anything you need help with, I can help you.
So
So
I did.
you have,
Flyers when door
you have a
knocking.
buyer that you're talking to and you need to send them comps.
No one wanted, a lot of people that didn't answer the door.
For a seller.
Young ring, it looks nice.
Of course, any offer
And the whole
agreement.
feet and
I can help you.
hard and a whole.
So I'm teaching here every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Come in Monday,
Yeah,
Wednesday.
come in.
Yeah, because the thing is that my big problem really is
There's just a lot of people that do that.
taxes keep going up 1% and I did it.
You're a female,
I mean, I did
It may
everything.
be more.
Laid off. But I'm like this, I don't know what I do.
They won't let you pull money out of it.
No. No, I can do a risk mortgage, but that's total.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Let me stand up.
Address.
Now, I'm a beat up old ballerina.
Yeah, like I try to farm around where I live.
It's like
I
that.
had one sale, one was in Hawaii, but the one that was in McCarthy
So
Vista,
you're in Los
I
Angeles.
tried to farm around.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll.
Flyers out just to,
This, but
Huh?
he's
if
in.
you get with JJ, he'll tell you, they'll do like with a 5 mile radius or 10 mile radius or X
Gary's not.
for the small business, and you can
Well, he's-
like make a flyer, you can knock on doors. Have you
I
done?
know what it says. I mean, he is a star with,
Yeah.
okay, just.
Gary's great.
I mean, not all of them, but so he's, do you have to say something?
I have to go.
Where are these? Who are these?
Oh,
Oh, he gave you.
okay.
I gotta find
It's
it.
an MREA.
Oh, yeah.
MR, there's a folder called
I
MR.
wouldn't call it.
In my first tab,
Did you got phone number?
Yeah, I know, but
I became very.
go back to
Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, I'm more.
for me it's better.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I would just go to the
Just
door
go
and knock.
I like
Yeah,
it.
I don't own it.
Side in passing.
Not all these, I'll probably just go individual too.
Yeah.
Unless there was a neighbor out or something like that, and like one time I went to look, there's kind of a house under construction for a long time.
So.
And no one's been doing construction, so I actually knocked on the neighbors, I said, what's going on next door? And they said, oh, father bought it, and they started construction, but then he stopped and so forth, so I get his name, oh, I know it.
If it has no activity, you're gonna be beating your head against the wall with no activity. So you need to find an area that has turnover.
Yeah.
That's number one. Then you're looking at the prices. The prices need to be good. Yeah. Right?
Business purge.
That's how they, okay, but
Yeah.
I regret,
I'm just,
an area
hard or just.
farm that person has.
I was just, yeah, I just feel like we're just doing buying or selling. I'm in Keller
What's-
Williams.
what-
Expensive.
They, the biggest regret,
I'm in Keller Williams.
they wish they could do more.
I was with Cobalt for about, just about 6.
Because now that you're in business here, you wish.
Unfortunately, I got on the team, there's 2 guys that brought me on.
I'm looking for a place that has turnover and there's not one agent that has every listing in that area. Because if you pick an area that there's one agent and every single one,
I brought in my.
it'd be really hard
To break in.
Yeah, because they're a master market.
House for said if you would
Going
have
up against a master
I
market.
would have never gone with him, if it wasn't for you.
Thanks.
Okay.
He almost blew
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
aiming at my buyer's agent and stuff like that.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Then when, take care of it. And then when I did a referral for their place in Hawaii, he was saying, no, we had an agreement.
So,
Like I
right.
can't.
Maybe
He wanted half of my, he wanted the 2/3 of my referral. He would totally lie. The manager kind of backed him up because he's been there a long
so I'm
time.
here to help.
He was just horrible. But I got out of the group, I stayed with him a while, I've been running into him occasionally. And I was just, and my friend Rory, who works here, I don't know, he's been here a long time. She's
Here and
come over to meet people.
And maybe.
از موریس
finding
کرده
someone
موریس
that you don't work well with,
I was there.
and that's just
نه
not.
I needed someone.
عوض کنم تا اونجا برم برای این نگو
Someone that
نگی
knows.
41, but another girl was here.
نه 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 الان محیط اجاره کجا رو میخواد مال
I don't.
ولی اول آگست بگو $6,000 $6,000 اول آگست من فکر کردم
Up at East Side Brownstones.
آره آره منتظر
Be kind of.
I had to have.
اکسپنساش اول تا خدا سال رو میخواد که چقدر به پدرو داری چقدر به اون داری
So,
تو هرچی میدونی جمع کن بعدش هم من بده الان میخواد برای
He wrote.
این سمت
Really, men are new to the real estate business.
که برده کنی که
Oh,
I mean, women are usually more social than men,
exactly.
so
We're good. I mean.
this is the women, it's,
I went.
women are more social. This industry is made
الان اول
for men. They're more social. Men are not as social. So,
خب یا جان اون مهمتره تا اینکه باید استیمیت من رو بگیری
I'm like,
Straight.
that's not right.
And they would say, oh, I took someone.
Here's our contact.
Offered something.
اوکی اوکی استیمیت که مورد
I said, well, you're right.
باشه 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 مال تو مال خرده بود بهش بگی چی میده بعدش من یه بار حساب میکنم میدم
Never protect me.
To think through. Because
So I was just like.
مال یه مقدار مال پدروی که باید بگم مال
I don't want to lose.
مال
the house.
فنساس $1,300 $1,300 برای فنسه بزن
get you into a deal.
آره
So-
میگیرم ازش آره $1,300 دادم
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
So leasing is the fastest money. That's,
Baş,
so that's the,
baş, baş.
is that you can find someone and you get paid right away
Yeah.
on a lease.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, on a
That's the
lease.
fastest money. It's
I like-
fastest
No,
money.
it's a lease.
People,
Yeah.
and then,
When that Brent thing happened and then when Tom backed him up on it, I was like,
and then after that,
so, and even,
I think they really concentrated on
one
this.
that I kind of came out during this mentor,
I'm,
she goes, if you leave.
right, so I'm just gonna come here and
Yeah,
listen.
come, listen,
learn.
network.
Basically.
Yeah, because I can't even figure this out. I found it all in
And, you know, and I
the
didn't.
trash.
So where do you live right now?
It didn't kind of work out and he said,
No, but what area?
9,005. It's
this and I said,
bullshit.
at one point.
Okay.
It's got this
He goes,
Soto Martinez in there who wants to throw a 5-story
yeah, he's horrible.
thing on a 6,700 square foot lot with no underground parking because they're supposed to use the subway, which they all got jumper cars and they had 14 people in one room, blah, 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 at 280,000. He wants to destroy these
So,
neighborhoods.
okay,
So that's where I live. And then across.
so
from
who are you
Olympic and-
talking to?
Not like,
What?
Like people,
I'm kind of moving.
talk to people in the
But
neighborhood?
another company
Oh,
relates to
I've
it
been there 50 years.
Do you know a lot of people for that?
years. I've been.
Yeah, but they don't see.
But
me
during
as a
COVID.
neighbor. And they're.
Why not?
We do huge fountain, we do engineering side of big fountain
Yeah.
projects like the Bellagio and stuff, and most of our work's in Dubai and so forth.
No one wants.
And
Signage.
financially, it was just so much strain. So my business partner now, he golfs. He's like,
I started,
but he golfs.
That Stein was-
And I said, well, I'm gonna go into real estate.
That's Stein.
I'm going into this a little bit later. So, like I said, I've already got a sale and another referral and I would have had another.
1999 is when I got my license in California,
But I've got a couple people I'm looking
in
for.
the
but now
60s.
interest rates have gone up so
New
high.
York City.
I was looking.
So, I mean, I've been doing real estate, really,
Sherman Oaks and one that's looking to buy over near USC, but they both.
but I'm not affected. That's what's happened in the last few years, and that's why I came here.
That's good. Okay, thank you.
All right, well, what's your name?
Sherry,
Sherry.
do I have?
And I'm Robert. I don't know.
At this point, I'm listening to everything he says, but he's got a computer that's working. It's like,
For Insta.
I give you. So anyway,
So you don't need to worry about the technology stuff. Just worry about the relationship stuff.
I'm pretty good at that.
That's,
People, I say
we'll
everything.
we'll figure everything else out.
I get people talking, they tell me that.
Okay,
I'm really good like that. Because I have no fear,
okay.
so that's good.
So just, yeah, just worry about the conversation and then I'll help you with technology.
I'll see you tomorrow at night.
Okay. sounds good.
Thank you, thank you. Are you English? What?
Are you English?
No, I'm Australian. I'm from the bush. What's this? Why? Oh, you can hear my accent, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear the
No. It's a
accent.
mix.
But generally,
Okay.
Australians, they kind of sound like Afrikaners, so.
And I was like, why am I in there
I left
searching? So it was,
17 and never went home.
but I think about Facebook. No, not that.
I went on a ship to the Royal Ballet School for 6 weeks.
Uh-huh.
Are you gonna be tomorrow?
I left you.
Yes, I think so. Yeah,
In Australia,
From my life experience, I mean, I've been on my own forever.
yeah, sometimes people think I'm the First Nation person from Australia. That's why.
Thank you.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you, JJ.
Thank you.
That's kind of-